Today we're going to be talking about consistency for your recruiting business. We're going to dive right in. So we're going to first start with some common mistakes that I see recruiting agencies make. So the first thing is a lot of recruiters and recruiting agencies are just commodities. What do we mean by that? Essentially, if you look at the recruiting industry, what makes it really unique is you don't have to take a test. There's no standard to get in. There's not like a real estate license or anything like that. If you want to recruit, you can say you're a recruiter and be in business tomorrow. What does that mean for those of us that have been in business for a while and take this seriously? Well, you're competing against people that are just entering the industry, and some of these people may have an ability to differentiate themselves better than you. So that's kind of the first thing, is looking at getting yourself away from being a commodity, because when you're a commodity, first and foremost, you usually don't get the respect that you deserve in the marketplace, meaning that you're working with hiring decision makers that don't view you as being any different than any other recruiter out there. They may not be giving you feedback on the candidates you're submitting, and ultimately what happens a lot of those times is you're just wasting a lot of time. You're wasting a lot of time working on jobs that you don't have a great opportunity to fill. And especially in a market right now where there's a ton to go around, we want to make sure that we're doing anything and everything that we can, obviously, to fill the job orders, right? So that's kind of the first thing, and is the mistake of just being viewed as a commodity in the marketplace. The next thing is, I find a lot of recruiters just aren't leveraged as they possibly can be. And the reason is because the old school of this industry is being taught, and everything is being delivered manually. And so, one-to-one phone calls, one-to-one emails. And when you're not leveraged, that's where there's only so much time in a day, right? And you're not superhuman. There's only so much time in a day. And when you're not leveraged, you're definitely not taking advantage of what else can be out there for you. And so that's the other common mistake. So the first one is that, a lot of recruiters are commodities. Second, is they're not leveraged. The third is, and this one's always a fun one, is the whole business is based off of relationship and referrals. Now, let me just start with saying, of course, everybody, or I should say, this goes without saying, is business is about relationships, right? So that's obvious. Let's just kind of set that as the foundation. But when your business and the growth of your business is based off of relationships and referrals, it's actually the most dangerous thing that you can have going on. So I'm not telling you not to seek out referrals, and I'm not telling you not to build relationships. Yes, again, I feel like that goes without saying. But again, if you're basing your business and the success and the growth off of relationship and referrals, it's dangerous. A couple of things. One, the success of your business is based on who's going to speak up on your behalf, right? And you're going to wait for new business when they choose to refer you or when they choose not to refer you. The second thing that comes up is a lot of referrals, even though we all love referrals, and referrals are great because it's dang near like handing money over in a lot of situations. But in the recruiting industry, a lot of times you can get a referral from somebody that's outside of your market and outside of your area of expertise. And that doesn't usually serve us very well, right? And they're not predictable. And so that makes it challenging, to grow your business when everything is based off of relationships and based off of referrals. Again, not telling you not to do that. And I'll be honest, when the pandemic, hit a couple of years ago, the majority of people that were coming to me were people that had great relationships with their clients, based their business off of referrals. And then when the market slowed down and those clients went away, they didn't really have a system to be able to generate new opportunities. The other mistake I see is obscurity. People are the best kept secret. There's people that are recruiters that have been doing this for years, and they are essentially the best kept secret in their marketplace. There's not a lot of people that know about them outside of their relationships and the referrals. And so, those are, four really big challenges and mistakes that I see recruiting agencies make. And when those mistakes, usually equal one big problem, right? And the problem is there's not a marketing system in place to attract inbound leads of both clients and candidates. And, ultimately what that leads to is inconsistency in production, right? And that's where we get those revenue months that go up and down. So right on, Kenneth, appreciate that feedback right now. So, one of the things that we want to look at is putting, your solution is to basically build yourself as an authority in the marketplace while, attracting people to you. And we do this through a marketing system. Okay. And we've been implementing this the last several years. We call it the relevant recruiter method. So I'm just going to walk you through the 4 pillars of the relevant recruiter method and how this can serve your recruiting business and help for more consistent production. Okay. So the first element of the relevant recruiter method is really focusing on getting ourselves to stand out, getting us to not be the commodity in the marketplace, but getting us to become the authority, right? So what does that take? The first thing is really getting crystal clear and focused on a specific market, a specific niche, if you will, whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. That can be geographically focused, that can be industry focused, that can be position focused, a lot of different ways to develop a market. But that's one of the common challenges I see is because a lot of people can recruit a lot of positions, then they stay generalist. But if you're really looking to build out a system and you're looking to build out more consistency in your production, you want to be serving the similar audience over and over and over again, especially when we're trying to market, right? We need to know who we're trying to market to. We need to know who we're trying to position ourselves to, because ultimately you can either be positioned as an authority in the marketplace, or you can be positioned as a commodity, just like every other recruiter. And I don't know about you, but I think being an authority should be the goal, because when you get this right and you become the authority and you're standing out from the competition, then that's where first and foremost you get the respect, you get the feedback from your clients, you get more candidates coming to you, you have the more opportunities to get exclusive deals, to get retained deals, just simply based off of your positioning in the marketplace. So being able to stand out is crucial because there's so many new people coming into this industry. So even the best people that have been doing this for 30 plus years will get beat by the guy that's been doing it for 1 year but has an ability to stand out in the marketplace. So getting clarity on the marketplace, getting clarity on your messaging, and then really focusing on how you can position yourself as being an authority is really what we focus on in the relevant recruiter method. And that's the first pillar, standing out. The next thing is we want to focus on leveraging you and your team. And so what we want to do is look at all the different ways that we can automate processes. Okay. And there's tons of things that can be automated. You can have automated landing pages, you can have automated LinkedIn, you can have automated email campaigns, you can have automated messaging chats on other things, you can do automated text messaging. There's a lot of different things that can be automated. Okay. First thing is kind of getting out, if you have this negative connotation around automation, is realizing that automation is actually going to create more opportunity for more real human interaction when done right. Now, if you're doing automation wrong and you're just trying to connect with people and sell everybody with your automated messaging, you're going to fall on deaf ears. You're ultimately going to burn out your reputation. But when you're using it more as a place to expand your audience, when you're looking at it as a way to start conversations, when you're looking at it as a way to drive yourself as a thought leader in the marketplace, that's where automation really, can become impactful for you and your business, right? And you really want to have an ability for your team to be able to start conversations daily without any of your effort, right? The biggest thing that automation allows us to really do, though, is go from a bunch of one-to-one outreaches, right? So the example would be like, if I'm cold calling, I can reach one person on the other line, to one-to-many, right? Where I can reach out and throughout a day with none of my effort, I can reach out to hundreds of people, right? And again, you want to be strategic about this, but when you get that automation right, you're building an audience, you're helping expand your, brand, you're helping to become less obscure to the marketplace, you're making people more aware of who you are, you're starting conversations with those types of people, and being able to generate leads more automatically, start conversations more automatically. The third thing is what we call the content conversion system, right? The content conversion system is really simply creating a brand, an online brand, through your content presence and getting that content to convert to inbound leads. Now, the first thing about content is this needs to be aligned with your positioning in the marketplace. We want to align your content to how we're trying to stand out and differentiate ourselves. And when we do that, that's really the key. And this is why it's really important you have a target market. And that's really important. If you want inbound leads, you're not going to get inbound leads from somebody that views you as being another recruiter, but somebody that they think you can solve a bigger problem for them. That's where they come to you. And if you've never had an inbound lead, it's a complete game changer. But when you're doing the content right, there's basically a couple of different things that we're trying to accomplish, right? We're trying to build trust in our marketplace. We're trying to build authority. We're trying to add value, and then we're trying to, what I call build proof, right? And proof is social proof, right? And so the way we do that is actually looking at building content in three specific stages, right? And the first stage is really talking to your market about their pains, and their problems, right? What are they actually going through? What is causing them frustration in their recruiting activities? What is their lack of ability to be able to recruit and hire people, costing their organization? And just being able to articulate these things in a different light is going to start to, position you as being an authority. But the next step is really offering solutions to these people, right? Offering thought leadership, offering different ways to solve these problems, whether, and it doesn't always have to be the whole solution, right? You can talk about just a specific thing. For example, you can talk about interviewing and add value around interviewing. You can talk about, how to handle counter proposals. You can talk about, how to write job descriptions. There's a lot of different ways you can educate the market and talk about things that they're struggling with. And then the last types of content you want to do is content that's geared towards when people are taking action, right? One of the main, kind of another mistake going back to the beginning, one of the challenges that I think a lot of people focus on is, I hear all the time of recruiters going, oh yeah, well, what do you do for business development? Yeah, I just go and I find out what companies are posting jobs on LinkedIn, then I go reach out to their hiring managers and blah, 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 blah. And, not saying you can't pick up wins that way, but you're really putting yourself behind the eight ball. If they're already posting on LinkedIn, they're already down that hiring process, and you want to focus your marketing efforts to get ahead of something like that so that you're a proactive choice rather than a reactive choice, for these companies. And, that's what the content conversion system will help you do, is it helps basically warm up a prospect, gets them to, know, like, and trust you. And when their need arises, you become more of an obvious choice to them, just by simply creating good content. And, your content really, you want to, when you get somebody that's in the action stage, you want to be able to provide proof, right? I'm going to say that I'm really good at what I do, but you guys are going to go, yeah, of course you would say that, Donnie. And then I'm going to say, well, go ahead and take a look at my YouTube testimonials. Go ahead and take a look at my posts and my testimonials that are on my LinkedIn page here. Look at my recommendations. Now I don't have to say it. My market's saying it for me, right? And that's one of the things that I think a lot of recruiting companies have a huge, opportunity to do, is every single candidate and client that's offboarded needs to have some sort of testimonial, case study, or something created from it, because that's going to create the social proof in the marketplace that are going to get people to be, again, view you as an authority and want to reach out to you because they're seeing you be successful. Okay. The last thing that we want to focus on is what I call multi-platform scaling. Okay. And the goal with multi-platform scaling is, to really become that top of mind choice for your marketplace. As you guys know, as we're doing outreach, it's all about timing in this industry, right? Timing for when a prospective candidate wants to move a job, timing for when a company's actually hiring. So as you do outreach, whether it's a client or candidate, the common responses that always come up, even if we're great at it, is hey, not interested right now, maybe reach back out in the future, reach back out in Q1, Q2. So, rather than just following up with somebody with phone call or an individual email, what we want to do is continue to build that relationship, but do it more in a way of scale. And that's where we use the multi-channel. So the best example, just the easiest way that we do this, is by helping people have email campaigns. Now, the email campaigns aren't like drip campaigns. You should have that as a part of your automated strategy, is having drip email campaigns. But this is more about having, lack of a better way to put it, like a newsletter style of email, right? And, the newsletter style of email is really going to, that's where you're going to share your thought leadership, share your content on another channel, right? And so if you're looking at this and we're creating content, we're growing a LinkedIn audience, for example, and then we're going to create content and deliver content to that audience, as well as hitting them with direct messaging. And then we know that a lot of people aren't going to be in the market right now, even though the market right now is incredibly hot. There's still only a certain amount of buyers out there, so to speak. So, this is where being able to show up top of mind and then educating these prospects, building your value, building your authority, building your proof. So then, like, okay, ABC company's ready to hire. And it's like, oh, well, I've been watching Kenneth for a while. I believe in his content. I believe in his stuff. I see that he's out there already delivering the type of talent that I need. I'm calling him. Right. And so that's the easy way to do it. Now, The steroid way to do it, the way that we do this, is what I call swarming the market. Okay. And this is the more advanced way to do it. This is where we're starting to use paid advertisements. This is where we're starting to show up on platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, right? We start to show up everywhere to the people to a small audience. Okay. And this is called retargeting, where we just show up to that small audience and continue to deliver our message, over and over to these people. And all of this stuff happens automatically while you're working and doing your day job, right? Now, the biggest challenge a lot of folks are facing right now is just, hey, they have the job orders, but then filling these types of roles. Well, a lot of the things that we talked about will apply to attracting candidates as well, right? Because attracting people is attracting people. Getting somebody to view you as an authority, you have to think about, with all the recruiters that are reaching out to your candidates, and you reach out and you probably have a certain story about yourself. And I would imagine that most of you guys that are listening to this are good and value what you do. But the person that's cold has no idea about that unless you're going to change that, right? Either you're going to drive your brand narrative or somebody else is going to create a story in their head about what your brand narrative is. And that's why it's so important to have all of these elements in play, knowing exactly who my target market is, being able to constantly grow an audience of that target market by leveraging automation, being able to nurture that audience and building my authority through creating a good content conversion system, and then making sure I'm top of mind by showing up on multiple platforms. When we're doing this, we're really swarming our entire marketplace, and we get more consistency, and the candidates will reach out to us just like the clients will. Now, nobody's going to bullshit anybody here. The bottom line when it comes to the actual recruiting side is you got to do whatever it takes, right? Whether it's cold calling, emailing, whatever it is, you got to make sure that you're doing whatever it takes. But when you're thinking about that outreach again, am I going to respond to the recruiter who I have no idea who is, who's just pitching me a job, or am I going to respond to a recruiter that's I've been in their network for a while, I've seen their value, and they're just going to share an opportunity with me? I'm going to be looking personally, I'm going to be looking for any and every way I can differentiate, because there's so much saturation right now. Okay. And so a lot of the things that we're talking about now, like I said, can help on the recruiting side of the business as well. When you have a system like this in place, it really is a game changer, right? It will help you really become viewed as an authority in your marketplace, and your positioning and being able to stand out. If I'm being honest, like that is the absolute key to getting inbound leads, right? Like I said that earlier, but if you're just a commodity recruiter, nobody's going to come chasing after you and be like, oh yeah, I want to sign up on your calendar. You're just like the rest of the recruiters out there. It's like, no, we got to focus on differentiation, right? And if you think that you're not different, or if all the recruiters do it the same, welcome to the club. Majority of recruiters out there feel that way, and I guarantee you we can find some ways to show how you're different. And the biggest thing to understand too here is, yeah, there's a lot of crossover between one recruiting agency and another. There's a lot of certain steps that a lot of people take. It's your ability to articulate that to your market that's going to differentiate you, right? So you can either stay with a story of, yeah, we're all the same, or you can do whatever you can to control your brand narrative and ensure the market knows that you're different, right? But that's the first thing, is really being viewed as authority. The next thing is, when you get an inbound lead, you get to control the sales call. And what I mean by that is, if everything you've ever experienced is outbound, then what you realize is the first few minutes of that call is just trying to get somebody to hook in and listen to you, right? But when you have an inbound call, somebody schedules on your calendar. Now, when that call starts, I have the authority to control that call. And now I can do a more consultative selling approach. Now I can dig into their pains, dig into their problems, and get all the things I need for any possible objections, so that I can handle this person and then, sell them into whatever my, recruiting package is, whether it's contingent, retained, whatever you're after, because I know there's a bunch of different models out there, right? Whatever you're after, you're going to create more opportunity, being able to get what you want by, controlling that sales call. Okay. The next thing is, you're really going to be able to create more time for yourself and your team, right? And we want to be able to get our team and ourselves to be focusing on revenue driving activities as much as possible. And so having these machines in place, first and foremost, it kind of puts us at a little bit more of a peace of mind, right? It puts us into a place where it's like, we know that we have predictable opportunities coming, and that creates a lot of power. That gives me the ability to, hey, say no to clients that aren't a fit, and also say no to clients that I did decide to work with, but now that I'm working with them, don't value them. It also gives me a little peace of mind that, like, hey, if a candidate drops off, that's fine. I have a system in place to fill it and get another one, right? The other thing is going to be able to build these relationships at scale, right? Being able to build relationships at scale, like I said, if we're doing it one-to-one, makes it more challenging. You know, is like I said, that's a game changer. If you're doing things one-to-one, that's just old school. Huge opportunity to start building relationships. I build relationships with people all the time. This is an example of it. Right now, there's people that are watching this that are going, "Hey, I like this Donnie guy." There's people that are going, "No, no, I don't like this Donnie guy," and that's all fine. Right now, it's kind of a one-way relationship. You guys are building a relationship with me more than I am with you per se, but there's still a relationship being built here. Now, when it comes to if there's opportunity for action, you guys get on the phone with me, we get to take that relationship to another level. Again, we're leveraged here as we're doing this. You're going to be able to get more referrals when you do things like this. One of the biggest ways, even though people have pride themselves on referrals, they don't have a machine in place. When you start putting yourself out in the marketplace, the first people that are going to respond to you are the people that already know, like, and trust you. So that'll be your first kind of warriors that'll go to battle with you and support you and even start generating new business. You'll be able to fill positions faster. You'll be able to have more freedom with your time. You'll have more freedom with your family. You'll increase your bottom line and your revenue. There's tons of business and benefits to having an automated marketing system. So Greg just asked a phenomenal question. Generating or creating a newsletter is like a full-time job in itself. And you can 100% be right there. And Greg, and just for clarity, actually, I don't recommend newsletters. It's just the easiest way I can get a lot of people to understand. So really, it's about just creating authority-based content. And one piece of tip that I'll just leave you with today, rather than throwing a bunch of stuff out there, but the easiest way to start doing this, Greg, is actually just taking what type of information that you're talking to your clients and candidates on the phone about. Guaranteed, today or yesterday or at some point this week, you're going to add value to somebody on a phone conversation. Once you do that, boom, trigger, turn that around, go write a LinkedIn post about it. Now, this is where I think a lot of people overthink. When I say the word newsletter, again, it becomes overwhelming. We think we need to have 15 different articles in that newsletter and making sure we're, you can just write one little article. You can write a short little post that impacts somebody, right? And so, that's where I think a lot of recruiters tend to overthink their content. Not accusing you of that, Greg, but this is where there's a lot of opportunity to be able to just share stories is one of the easiest ways and pieces of tips that I can give you. I'm not a big believer in outsourcing content. I'm a huge believer in outsourcing, but the content side, I think, is something that every recruiter should really, start to work on that skill, because just like anything else, it's a skill that you can become better at. And what that's going to look like is you want to be able to just really be intentional and carve out time to create the newsletter. But you can outsource, like, somebody that actually puts the newsletter together and then sends that to your list, or puts the email together and sends that to your list. That's something that can be outsourced. But the really reason, the main thing where I was going with you creating the content, is nobody can sell yourself as good as you can. Nobody can articulate, and especially in the staffing and recruiting industry. And I hear it daily from people like, "Oh yeah, I tried to have somebody write an article. They completely didn't understand this industry." Well, this industry is incredibly unique. Half the people don't understand that you have two markets you're serving, right? You don't have clients or candidates. Well, what content should I create? Well, you actually know best. And it's really just a matter of having the confidence to, put yourself out there and realize that it doesn't really need to be overthought. So thank you, Greg. Thank you for being here with me. Got a couple other people, don't outsource your content. Yeah, that's the number one thing I would say, is don't outsource your content. And it's something that you can definitely, make stronger on your own. And if you look at it as just like any other habit, lifting a weight, for example, eventually you'll build that muscle and make it stronger. Best way to land meetings with prospects. A lot of our clients have success with, automated LinkedIn campaigns and LinkedIn messaging. But what we're not doing, just to kind of give you an example, is we're not really going out there. We're not trying to pitch to get on a phone call. We're not trying to pitch to help them do certain things. We're actually just asking thought-provoking questions where we can start conversations with people. And then once we find an area that we can help, then we turn that conversation into, hey, maybe there's an opportunity for us to help you here. Can we get onto a 10 or 15-minute call? So a lot of what we're doing, the way that we're landing meetings, is actually by starting more conversations in LinkedIn. Now, one thing I want to say, we're not out there asking for virtual coffees. That's a huge waste of time. Is the whole virtual coffee thing. There's a balance here of, like, I'd rather talk to 4 people a week that are qualified and want to talk to me, rather than 10 people a week that are just trying to get on my calendar, right? And so, I don't believe in the whole virtual coffee thing, but if you're really focused on starting conversations, and this is why it's really important to have that target market, because then we can at scale start different conversations by hitting on different pain points or different things that are happening in that market, right? So those are some of the ways we do a lot of video outreach. And then quite honestly, and this doesn't happen overnight, but our goal, once somebody implements the entire relevant recruiter method, where a lot of their calls are coming, is from inbound leads, people reaching out to them. Hey, John, I've been following you for a while. Wanted to reach out and see, how I can get on your calendar, type of a thing. So that's kind of the main ways that we're booking meetings there. And if you guys are, in the market, if you guys are looking for a more predictable revenue, more consistency with your team, and you want to, are interested in building out a automated marketing system that attracts your ideal clients and candidates, what I have to offer you is just a free strategy session. Comment below that you're interested, reach out to me via direct message. And what we'll do on this call is we'll, really do a deep dive into your business. We'll figure out where you're at now, where you're looking to go, what some of the problems you're facing, what some of the opportunities are. From there, I can lay out a complete strategy and game plan about how the relevant recruiter method would apply to your business specifically. You can take all of that information, run with it, and go wherever you want. If, we both feel like there's an opportunity to work together, of course, I have a coaching program, and I'd love to invite you in there if it makes sense for all of us. So go ahead and drop an in below if you're interested in having that free call. We'll do that. There's no pressure, no obligation. I'll be honest, it'll be very valuable, whether we work together or not, because of what you'll walk away from in terms of clarity. So this is Donnie Gupton. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you guys. Drop that in below if you want that, or send me a direct message. Have a great rest of your week. Talk to everyone soon.